The question came at 12:34 p.m. Prime Minister's questions. Nigel Farage stood up first time as an MP asking the Prime Minister directly. Will the government commit to a full national inquiry into grooming gangs? Simple question. Yes or no. Keir Starmer's answer would define his premiership. He paused, chose his words carefully. We are taking robust action through existing frameworks. Translation, no. The chamber erupted. Farage shouted back, that's not an answer. Victims deserve the truth. Why won't you give it to them? Starmer didn't respond, moved to the next question. But the damage was done, because this wasn't just politics anymore. This was about thousands of girls abused, ignored, failed by the system. And the man now refusing to investigate had been Director of Public Prosecutions when many of these cases were happening. Farage had just lit a fuse, and it was about to explode. How did it get here? December 2024, grooming gang scandals were back in headlines. New revelations from Rotherham, fresh cases in Rochdale, Telford numbers growing. The pattern was horrifying and familiar. Gangs targeting vulnerable girls, authorities ignoring warnings, police refusing to investigate, social services looking away. Victims blamed and dismissed. Conservative government had commissioned inquiries before. Some local, some regional, nothing comprehensive. Labor won power promising serious action on serious crime. Victims groups demanded a full national inquiry like Hillsborough, like infected blood scandal, like post office. Complete investigation, full accountability, everyone responsible named. Seemed obvious, right? Except Keir Starmer said no. His reasons publicly stated, we need action, not endless inquiries. Resources better spent on prevention and prosecution. Existing frameworks are sufficient. But victims heard something else. We don't want the truth exposed. We're protecting people who failed you. Your suffering isn't worth investigating. January 2025. Nigel Farage made this his mission. Every interview, every speech, every social media post. Keir Starmer is blocking a national inquiry. Why? What is he hiding? Labor dismissed it as Farage playing politics with tragedy. But then victims started speaking out. Samantha groomed in Rotherham, abused for years, ignored by police. I went to authorities in 2011. They did nothing. Now Starmer won't even investigate why. He was Director of Public Prosecutions then. He should have protected us. He didn't. And now he won't let anyone examine why. Her testimony went viral. Millions watched. Hearts broke. And questions grew. What is Starmer hiding? February 2025. Farage organized a victims' march to Parliament. Not a political rally, a memorial march. Survivors walking, families of girls who didn't survive. Thousands joined. Silent, powerful, heartbreaking. They delivered a petition, 2 million signatures demanding national inquiry. Starmer refused to meet them, sent a junior minister instead. The optics were devastating victims literally at Parliament's door, and the Prime Minister wouldn't face them. Farage stood with the survivors on the steps. This man claims to care about justice. But when justice requires examining his own record, suddenly he's too busy. Labor accused Farage of exploiting victims for political gain. But polls showed public agreement with Farage. 67% wanted a full inquiry. Starmer was losing the argument. March 2025, then came the revelation that changed everything. Investigative journalists uncovered documents Crown Prosecution Service files from 2008 to 2013, when Starmer was DPP. Multiple grooming gang cases, evidence presented, prosecutions recommended by local police, CPS decision, declined to prosecute, insufficient evidence, not in public interest, girls' testimonies dismissed, witnesses deemed unreliable, cases dropped. Starmer's signature appeared on some decision documents, not all, but some. The headlines were brutal. Starmer signed off on dropped cases. DPP decision, let abusers walk free victims failed by future, PM Starmer's defense. Prosecutors make difficult decisions based on available evidence and legal standards. I stand by the professionals of the CPS. Translation, I did nothing wrong, but victims heard, you weren't believable enough. April 2025. Farage went nuclear. He read out victims' names in Parliament, their ages when abused, which gangs, which towns. Then he detailed which cases were dropped by CPS, when, under whose authority. Sophie, age 13, groomed in Rotherham. Case dropped 2010. Keir Starmer was DPP. Emma, age 14, trafficked in Rochdale. Case dropped 2011. Keir Starmer was DPP. Lisa, age 12, abused in Telford. Case dropped 2012. Keir Starmer was DPP. He read for 20 minutes, every name a dagger, every detail devastating. And now, Farage concluded, this man refuses to allow a full inquiry into the failures that allowed this. I wonder why. Starmer responded angrily. The member is making wild accusations without understanding prosecutorial independence and evidential thresholds, but the public didn't hear legal justification. They heard excuses. May 2025 protests erupted across Britain, not organized by Farage, grassroots, spontaneous, furious, outside Labour constituency offices, outside courts, outside Parliament. One banner summed it up. Starmer knew, Starmer hid, Starmer refuses to investigate. Labour MPs were panicking, constituencies in uproar, voters demanding answers. Some backbenchers broke ranks, publicly calling for the inquiry. Starmer refused. One Labour MP, I don't care about party loyalty when children were failed this badly. Starmer's authority was crumbling. June 2025, Elon Musk entered the fight. Tweet, Keir Starmer is protecting a system that failed thousands of children. Why? What's he hiding? Britain deserves the truth. 50 million views in 24 hours. Musk amplified victim stories, funded investigative journalism, gave Farage's Reform UK platform on X. Labour called it foreign interference in British politics. Victims called it finally someone with power who cares. July 2025, 1 year since Labour's victory. This should have been celebration. Instead, crisis. Starmer's approval ratings collapsed, Labour polling in freefall, and the reason? One issue dominating everything. Why won't he allow the inquiry? Starmer tried new explanations. Costs would be prohibitive. Timeline would take years. Better to focus resources on current cases. But none convinced, because the truth was obvious. He didn't want his time as DPP examined, didn't want decisions questioned, didn't want accountability. August 2025. Farage made his move. Announced Reform UK would conduct its own inquiry, funded privately, led by retired judges, open to all victims. Not official, not government-backed, but real. Starmer called it a political stunt with no legal authority. Victims called it the only option since the government won't act. Hundreds came forward, testified, shared evidence, and the findings preliminary but damning. Systemic failures across multiple agencies. Police ignoring evidence. Social services dismissing victims, CPS dropping prosecutable cases, and common thread, concerns about community relations and cultural sensitivities overriding child protection. The report didn't explicitly blame Starmer, didn't need to. The timeline was clear, the decisions documented, the failures undeniable. September 2025. Labour conference was a disaster. Starmer tried rallying the party, defending his record, explaining his position. Delegates weren't having it. One victim invited by Labour members against leadership's wishes stood up during Q&A. Prime Minister, I was 13 when I was groomed. I'm 26 now. I've waited 13 years for someone to investigate why I was failed. You're blocking it. Why? What are you afraid of? Silence. Starmer started to answer legalistic response about processes and frameworks. She interrupted. I don't want excuses. I want the truth. Will you give me that? The hall watched, waited. Starmer said, I understand your pain, but a formal inquiry isn't the answer. She walked out. Delegates started slow clapping, not for Starmer, for her. The party was turning against him. October 2025. Conservative opposition joined Farage's demand. Kemi Badenoch announced, if elected, Conservatives will immediately launch the national inquiry Labour refuses. Lib Dems said the same. SNP said the same. Even some Labour MPs privately agreed. Only Starmer's government stood against it. The political isolation was total. November 2025, the evidence became overwhelming. More documents leaked. More cases revealed, more failures documented. Pattern emerging, 2008 to 2013. Hundreds of cases dropped during Starmer's tenure. Consistent reasoning. Insufficient evidence despite victim testimony. Multiple instances of police recommendations overruled. Clear prioritization of avoiding difficult prosecutions. Starmer's defense remained. Decisions made in good faith based on legal standards. But that defense was collapsing. Because legal standards should protect children, not abusers. December 2025 polling showed catastrophic numbers. Should there be a national grooming gangs inquiry? Yes. 78%. No. 9%. Unsure. 13%. Do you trust Keir Starmer to handle this issue? Yes. 23%. No. 68%. The public had decided. Starmer was wrong. Farage was right. December 20th, 2025 emergency cabinet meeting. Ministers presenting options. Continue refusing politically suicidal but legally defensible. Announce limited inquiry satisfies nobody. Full national inquiry admission of failure but might save government. Starmer faced impossible choice. Agree to inquiry, admit he was wrong. Expose his DPP record, potential criminal liability for misconduct in public office. Refuse inquiry, government collapse, electoral wipeout, legacy destroyed. Some ministers begged him, announce the inquiry, take the hit, move on. Others warned, the inquiry will destroy you personally. Fight it. December 21st, 2025 today. Starmer hasn't decided, the pressure mounting, Farage planning another victims' march bigger, angrier, demanding answers. Labor MPs whispering about leadership challenge. He's leading us off a cliff. Victims still waiting 13 years, 15 years, 20 years for justice. And Keir Starmer, trapped by his past, paralyzed by his present, facing a future where every choice leads to destruction. The cameras turn to Clacton Nigel Farage at a town hall, surrounded by survivors, promising we won't stop until there's justice. The cameras turn to number 10 Keir Starmer in crisis meetings, knowing his career hangs on a decision he can't make. 2 men, 1 issue, thousands of victims waiting. Who wins this battle? The politician protecting his reputation? Or the activist demanding accountability? The answer will determine everything. But right now, Farage is winning. The victims are speaking. And Starmer, running out of places to hide. The question that started this, will you commit to a national inquiry? Still unanswered, but the silence is deafening, and Britain is watching, waiting, demanding justice. How much longer can Starmer say no? How much longer before the truth comes out anyway? The clock is ticking, the victims are waiting. And Nigel Farage, just getting started.